Good morning students, welcome back to online classes of VLSI design. So in previous class we have seen about the scaling of mass circuits. Yes, so what is the scaling of the mass circuits? The main aim of your VLSI fabrication is to achieve smaller line widths and the smaller chip size area for high packing density. So the scaling may be the scaling factors or characteristics of this phase scalings may be depending upon the particular application or the particular IC that you are going to prepare. But the main parameter, the major parameters and the characteristics of the system is to bring out the smaller chip size area and the smaller line widths, and you should be having higher packing density. So this scaling also includes some particular circuit performance which indicates how scaling should be done, like what are the parameters that we have to consider for proper scaling. So in last class also we have discussed about what are the different parameters, like if we can say the count of gates on the chip. Yes, the number of gates what you are using on the chip, that are very important. Then you have to minimize the size of the device, right? We should not be having a huge size, it should be very small. Maximum we have to try to get a smaller size of IC. Then you need a power dissipation, that how much power it is required, and maximum frequency operation, how much frequency it is considering to prepare and particular application, and die size, means how much size you require for that one. So that the primary objective of your scaling factor is to improve the overall performance of the device. So as to improve the device performance, we really require this scaling. Scaling are different parameters, like if you are going for an IC, the count of gates, then minimum size should be taken, how much frequency is required, what is the power dissipation. All these constraints are there which are very important for your scaling, right? So it also improves the figure of merit, and I have said there are three different kinds of scalings: constant field scaling, constant voltage scaling, and lateral scaling, right? So in this chapter lastly in the last class we have completely seen about the scaling and different kinds of scalings. Now in today's class we are going to see about your limitations of scaling. What are the proper limitations of your scaling? So this is your limitations of scaling. So because of scaling, your MOSFET dimensions or your IC dimensions will be shrunk, means they will be reduced aggressively. So these has forced some geometric effects which introduce your potential problems. Potentials are nothing but your voltage problems in the device, correct? And when you are having these characteristics and the modeling, there are some potential problems will be occurring because of your scaling. Yes, we have done the scalings depending upon the gate levels, how many gates counts, and the size and the power and the frequency, everything we have scaled down. But due to this scaling down, there will be some desirable effects and some associated effects which may be having some problems, and that are eventually becoming severe problems that cannot be again further processed. So such a type of what we'll say problems or the limitations are, I'll list out someone. Out of that we are discussing two over here, and the list is that some of them are like substrate doping. One is substrate doping, means how much doping you are done. If you are limiting that one also, then you will be getting some potential problems. Potentials are nothing but voltage problems. So the first one is substrate doping, second one is depletion width. Your depletion layer width, that is important, you may get a problem over there also. Limitations of miniaturization, then limitations of interconnect and contact resistance, how you have to interconnect and what is the contact resistance between them. And due to the threshold currents, there also is limitation because of that one. And limitations on logic levels, means how which gate you are using, which logic levels you are using, and supply voltage of the noise and supply voltage due to the noise. And lastly, limits due to the current density. So these are the limitations, list of limitations that are occurring due to the scaling. So what actually, why we are going for the limitations, that scaling down may be having some desirable effects which may be causing the problems, and this some of these problems if you are not rectifying further, it is a process that they won't be rectified. So out of that, some are your substrate doping or depletion width, or limitations of what you will say interconnecting or contact resistance, and you will be having some limitations due to the threshold voltages or threshold currents, and you will be having some limitations on your current density also. So out of that one we are going to see about the first one is substrate doping. Substrate doping means it may, in many of the effects we neglect the built-in potential. Built-in potential is nothing but your VB. Okay, so built-in potential which depends upon the substrate doping, because we are building in your what we'll say diffusion values. So VB is very important. This is acceptable till VB must be small when compared to your VDD. So what is the limitation? We should not neglect, we should not reduce the voltage in such a level that VB is reducing completely. So VB up to which level it is acceptable? This is acceptable till VB is small when compared to the VDD. Means your VDD value should not be reduced than that of your VB. So it should be up more than that of your built-in potential. Then it is acceptable, or else it will become a drawback or a limitation, and that cannot be rectified further. Okay, that may be causing the problem, which is not considered, and the VB effect must be included, and also other stuff, the substrate doping factors. So hence substrate doping needs considerable attentions. I'll repeat it once again. What is substrate doping? In many of the effects we neglect the built-in potential. VB we are neglecting in most of the aspects, which depends upon the substrate doping level. This is acceptable till VB is small when compared to the VDD. This should be small when compared to this. If you are reducing this much more than that of your VDD, then it will become a problem. So when it is not considered, this VB, if you are not considering and if you are neglecting that one, then we will be getting some problems. So the main attention should be also given to your VB. VB is nothing but built-in potential. I hope you are clear with this substrate doping factor, right ma'am? Now see, now we are having substrate doping scaling factor. Okay, so you have seen the substrate doping. Now we have seen the substrate doping scaling factor. This substrate doping, as the length of the MOS transistor gets reduced due to the scaling, the width of the depletion layer must also get scaled down. That such prevents the meeting of source and depletion region. Okay, so due to this one, what we are saying that when the length of your MOS transistor is reduced because of some scaling, we have done some scaling part, right? So due to that one, what happens if you are reducing the length? Obviously depletion width also gets reduced, which prevents the meeting of your source as well as the depletion region. So the scaling involves the reducing the channel length of the MOS transistor, and however it has to be ensured that the depletion width also enough selected or scaled down so that the drain and source depletion regions do not meet each other. The main agenda should be that your source and your depletion, so drain and source depletion regions should not meet. Okay, so as to avoid that one, we are using this substrate doping scaling factor, which in turn reduces the length of your MOS transistor, and that also when you are decreasing the length, your width also should be decreased, and so that one your drain and source depletion regions will not be meeting. So to build the potential, so the built-in potential VB is now given as VB is equals to KTQ into log of ND into NB divided by NI square. Okay, so the built-in potential is given as VB is equals to K into T divided by Q ln into ND into NB divided by N square, where ND is a source or drain doping, right? ND is source or drain doping, and your Ni is the intrinsic carrier concentration, this one, and when it comes to NB, this is the substrate doping level. Okay, it is called as your substrate doping level. So the effect of the voltage which is across the junction is defined as V is equals to VA plus VB. It is the effect of the voltage which is across the junction. So before that one, we see that the depletion region width D of the junction is given as D is equals to under root of 2 epsilon naught epsilon SiV divided by Nb into Q. What is Nb? It is the substrate doping level. Epsilon naught and epsilon I are the permittivity in free space, and it is relative permittivity of the silicon, because we are using the silicon metal, right? Silicon dioxide or the pure silicon crystal we are considering. So we are using the relative permittivity of silicon, which is approximately is equals to 12. So the depletion region width D is of the junction of your particular junction where you are having this, what we will say, effective voltage across that particular junction. So the width of that particular junction should be D is equals to under root of 2 epsilon naught epsilon SiV divided by Nb into Q, where V is equals to voltage across the junction or the effective voltage across the junction, that is equals to VA plus VB, where VA is the applied voltage and VB is the built-in voltage. Okay, total voltage is VA plus VB, where VA is the applied voltage, means how much voltage we are applying to the particular IC or the chip, and VB is the built-in voltage which is already in that one, the potential which have already built in that one. And whereas Nb is already given as the substrate of doping level or a doping level of the substrate. So this is how we will be saying the scaling of your substrate doping or the scaling factor of the substrate doping. It means that when length of your what we will say MOS transistor gets reduced, then obviously the width of the depletion must also get scaled down, which will be providing the meeting point between the source and drain depletion region. So these are the formulas for that one, and it is about your scaling factor of your substrate doping, right? So I hope you are clear with this part. Let's move on to the next topic or the next part of your unit, that is your gate level modeling or the what will say gate level design. By the name itself you can know what is gate level design. What are the gates that you will be having? The logic gates and normally other complex gates. So we will be seeing what is the logic gate, okay, how these gates or the transistor will be used as switches, and what are the basic logic gates, okay, that we will be seeing now. So what is a logic gate? What do you mean by logic gates? In case if you consider if there is no logic gate, then what happens? So logic gate is very important to design all other complementary metal oxide semiconductors, all other logic gates or any electronic device. Without these logic gates, it is very difficult to design any other electronic components. Yes or no? They may be used as so the logic gates are the very important ones as to design all the complementary equipments in your ICs, right, or any electronic equipment. So here the logic gates or the gate of a MOS transistor controls. First you are discussing about the gate. Okay, what is the gate terminal? The gate of the MOS transistor that will be controlling the flow of current between the source and drain. Therefore the gate is used to control the inputs. Hence, by using the CMOS transistors, all the basic logic gates and the complex logic gates can be implemented. So, without, as we have told already in the previous class, when we are done the fabrication process of CMOS, there we have seen that without CMOS transistor, all the logic gates or the complex logic gates cannot be implemented. So these are very important, and without these logic gates also, it is very important, impossible to design a proper electronic equipment. So it is very important to have the gates, CMOS transistors and all complex logic gates, right? So the main agenda of your gate terminal is it will be controlling the flow of current between the source and drain, and therefore gate is used to control the input. Yes or no? Go back to your normal circuit diagram of a PMOS, CMOS or something, that you will be having three terminals: gate, drain and source. So gate is the one where we will be having the input, given input, which will be having the control flow of your current between the source and drain. So hence the CMOS transistors or all the basic gates and complex logic gates can be implemented by using your CMOS transistor. So in that one, the first topics that we are going to see is MOSFET or your transistors that can be used as switches. Okay. So depending upon the type of substrate that we have used, these MOSFETs can be divided into two types. Okay, field effect transistors can be divided into two types. First one is NMOS transistors and PMOS transistor. So what is an NMOS transistor? The gate terminal acts as a control input as it affects the electric current between the source and drain. So we are having two transistors that are divided. One is NMOS and PMOS. The gate terminal, which is acting as a control input, that is affects the electrical current between the source and drain. Okay, see, this is NMOS transistor. This is gate, drain and source. So here we will be giving the input and it will be controlling your drain and source. This is the diagram of your NMOS and this is your PMOS. So the MOS transistors can be used as on or off switches. So how these transistors will be used as switches? When the gate of an NMOS transistor is given to 1, then the transistor will be your on. Okay, so when the gate of the transistor is given 0, your transistors will be off. For which one? For your N1. This will be quite opposite. When you are giving the 0, it will be on. When you are giving 1, then it will be off. So your transistors can be used as switches. This we are going to say in this topic, that these transistors can be used as switches. So this can be your on-off switches. When the gate of NMOS transistor is given, it will be in on condition. When it is given, input given is as 0 here, then it will be in an off condition. When you are giving the input as 1 in your PMOS transistor, it will be off. When you are giving 0, then it will be in an on condition. So this is how your MOS transistors can be used as your switches. And the next one is your logic gates. So the basic logic gates that are used in your CMOS. What are the three basic logic gates that you are going to use here? That is your inverter, NMOS transistor, what you will say, OR operation or OR gate, and the third one is your AND gate. The three basic logic gates that are implemented by using your MOSFETs is your inverter, OR gate and AND gate. So without inverter, there is no other component can be prepared. Yes or no? So without, if you are not using a NOT or a NOR operation, we can't go for the NOR, neither NAND. So these NOR and NAND gates are called as universal gates, right? So these are two gates. What are universal gates? Basic logic gates are three: inverter, OR and AND operations, and your universal gates are your NOR and NAND gates. So here inverter, a CMOS, first one we are going to see is your inverter. A CMOS inverter or a NOT gate can be implemented by using one NMOS transistor and one PMOS transistor. So I am combining both this one. So this is the symbol of your NMOS NOT gate or an inverter. If you are giving input as 1, obviously you will be getting output as 0. Yes. This is the logic. Let's just see the truth table immediately. So this is the input 0 if you are getting the output as 1. If you are giving output as 1, you will be getting our input as 0. Next one is your OR operation, where the logical OR operations can be implemented by connecting PMOS and CMOS in parallel. Okay, we have to connect CMOS and NMOS in parallel, then you will be getting your OR operation. That is, this is your OR gate A and B. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, and the what will say combinations of inputs you are giving. So what is the OR operation? It's nothing but addition operation. 0 plus 0, you will be getting 0. For getting this OR operation, how your transistors should be kept? They should be in parallel. Both PMOS as well as NMOS transistors should be in parallel connection. So this combination of your inputs will be giving the output. The 0 plus 0 will be 0, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 0, 1, 1 plus 1, it is complementary 2, right? 2-bit addition. So it is 1 plus 1, again 1, you will be getting the carry 0, 1. I hope everyone knows about this one, right? The next one is your AND operation. That is nothing but it's like multiplication operation. Yes, so this logical AND operation can be implemented by connecting PMOS and CMOS in series. Now we have to connect this into the series. Here you have connected this into the parallel for OR operations, and the truth table will be 0 into 0, 0, 0 into 1, 1, 1 into 0, 0, and 1 into 1, 1. Okay, so this was about your logical operations of your, what we'll say, MOS, or the basic logic gates in the MOS. The universal gates are NOR and NAND. And the next one we are going to see here is your complex logic gates, right? Here the complex logic gates, or the what we can also say CMOS gates, can be used to implement either complex logic operations such as your 2 input NAND and 3 input NAND, or 2 input NOR, or 3 input NOR, or any other compound logic operations. Complex logic operations nothing but if you want to combine 2 to 3 NAND or NOR gates, or 2 to 3 what we say NAND operations or NOR operations all together, you have to do. For that particular one we will be using these complex logic gates. It means that a gate is the one which implements the function that can provide the basic NAND and OR operation, but integrates them in a single circuit. Last what we have said, basic logic gates, what we have seen, OR separately we have seen, NOT separately and separately. Now we are combining all these three together, we are integrating all these three together and making a single circuit. So CMOS is ideally suited for creating these gates that have logic equation combinations of the following. So which kind of transistor we are going to use here? CMOS transistors are basically or ideally used for getting all these combinations. We are having two combination, that is AND OR inverter, that is one combination AOI, or OR and inverter, like OR OAI, OR and inverter. Fine. So an AOI logic equation is equivalent to complemented of your sum of operations or sum of problems form. While as you are going for the OAI, it will be equivalent to the product of your what we'll say POS that you have already known, right? So this AOI will be similar to the sum of products. Okay, you are doing sum of products. All the products should be done first and OR operation. The sum of products. So what you are doing, first you are doing AND means producting, then you are doing sum of that products. While your OAI will be similar to the or complemented to that of POS, product of sums. Then you are doing the sums, then you are doing the product to that one. First all sums, all addition I have said, summing operation is done by OR, then you are doing multiplication or product by using your AND gates. So it will be similar or equivalent to the POS, that is product of sum structures. So in CMOS, the output always produces NOT operation acting as an input variable. There's a lot of disturbance here. Please do concentrationally listen to the video. Okay. So I hope you are clear with the complex logic gates. So what are the complex logic gates? Which provides here combination of NOT and OR operation, and they hold together, integrate to become a single circuit. So there are two what we will say, they can be exhibited into two different types, that is AOI and OAI. That will be equivalent to the sum of products or product of sums. So I will show one of the example that how your AOI will be formed. Okay. So first see what is AOI logic function. It is AND, OR and inverter logic function, right? That will be implementing the operation of your AND gate, OR gate as well as the NOT gate. For example, the first example I am considering it as y is equals to a into b plus c into d. Okay, y what I am taking? Whole bar. You have to take whole bar. First you have to get this equation, then you have to do whole bar. First to draw the circuit diagram or the logic diagram for the equation that you have got. So y is equals to what? Actually if you write in terms of words, so y is equals to NOT of, this is the NOT operation, the bar means your inverter, NOT of a and b, first one a into b is a and b, then OR plus or c into d, right? C into D. As I have said that it will be complemented to sum of products, correct? You are doing the sum of this particular products. Which are the products? A and B and C and D are the products. We have to do that one. So first what you are doing, A into B. A into B means AND gate. AND gate, A into B. We have considered this part. Then you are doing C into D. This is the C and D part. So these both are given to the OR. We are doing the sum of these two products. So A into B plus C into D, your OR gate, and that has given to be an inverter. See here, bar is there, that is nothing but NOT gate, that is your inverter, that is given to the inverter. So your pi is equals to AB plus CD whole bar. Now you design this in CMOS implementation. You have to do this your CMOS implementation, right? So first I am doing your A into B. A and B part we are doing the first one. Draw A and B AND function first. For those two N, we are using two NMOS operation or two NMOS gates which are connected in series. So these two are connected in your series, right? Now what you are doing, if NMOS is used, we have to do the addition should be drawn in the parallel line and your multiplication line should be drawn in series. Okay, these two are addition, right? What we will say, addition line should be drawn in your parallel. These two are should be added. So we are doing these two as addition. If you are going for the multiplication operation, they should be drawn in the straight line. So these two are the products, and operation should be done between A and B. Now draw the line or draw the implementation line CD using two NMOS in series. Again one more, these two in the series, C and D. And we have to add these both, right? This is step 2. Now we are adding. Now what we are doing, we are attaching these two. Now so AB series is connected in parallel with the CD. Yes, this AB one AND gate. Okay, this first AB, this is one AND gate, this is second AND gate. So this one AND, this is second AND, they both are connected now in parallel. For multiplication they should be in parallel, for addition they should be in series. Okay, now what you have to do, now we have to add one more line, correct? Now we have to add these two, right? So here what you have to do, addition line as I have said in series, this here again we have to draw in series. Now in NMOS, AB is connected in series, so the PMOS side AB should be connected in parallel, and in NMOS CD is connected in series. Okay, so the PMOS line should be connected in parallel, so there will be a vice versa in between these two one. See, this is the consideration which I am showing for the PMOS one. This was your NMOS. For NMOS what we are doing, for addition operation we are doing in series, and for multiplication they are connected in parallel. When comes to your PMOS, see here this dotted one. For PMOS what your addition line should be in series and multiplication line should be in parallel. It should be difference between that one. Yes, I hope you are clear. Addition line should be drawn in, so in what we will say, series. So here see the note over here and there. See, in NMOS addition line is drawn in parallel, multiplication line shows in series. Come to here, in PMOS addition operation should be drawn in series AS, and in multiplication should be in parallel. So differentiating, either you use NMOS transistor or PMOS transistor, it completely depends upon you. Okay, so this is, now you have to take the point at which both NMOS and PMOS network should be added and you should get the output, right? This I have shown the combination of AB and CD in CMOS as well as, in NMOS as well as in PMOS combination. Now you add this two one. Okay, this two, this is this part is completely your CMOS implementation for AOI. Okay, AOI is nothing but AND or inverter. This is the CMOS combination where you are completely getting the P network, combination of P and combination of your NMOS. In combine you will be getting the CMOS network where you will be getting the operation of your Y is equals to A into B plus CD whole bar. So these give you the circuit. Similarly, if you go for the OR and I logic operation, means OR and an inverter logic operation. So here I have given the same example for that one, and draw the figure. Two OR operations, two circuits OR gates should be considered for AB and CD. Okay, AB plus CD into what will say, this one, AB plus CD into C plus D, A plus B into C plus D, and that is given to the inverter. Similarly, you please draw the CMOS implementation for AOI also. Okay, this is the implementation of what we will say AOI. I have given only the circuit diagram or the logic diagram of OAI. You draw the CMOS implementation for your OAI also. Also, I hope you are clear with the complex logic gates and the basic gates, right? what we'll say, and the switches, what you have, how you are going to use the switches also. So please do practice this well. Okay. So, and draw your logic diagram for your CMOS NOR gate also. Okay. So we'll wind up the class here itself. In case of any doubts, ma'am, please do let me know. Fine. Thank you.